Hey guys, I'm Ryan Tatum. This is Future Riffs, and today we are going to talk about vibrato bar techniques, and in particular, we're going to talk about them on the Charvel Pro Mod DK24, the Goto 510 vibrato bar. Let's rip it. So, in this video, I want to go over some common uses for vibrato bar techniques. Everything from using them in chord structures to soloing. So I'm going to give you guys three big techniques to practice vibrato bar stuff. But right before we get into it, let me talk about the type of vibrato bar I have, and let me compare it to others. So I'm using a Goto 510 bridge. It came stock on the Charvel Pro Mod DK24, and is one of my favorite trim systems of all time for a bunch of reasons. It holds tune really, really well when it's paired with the locking tuners. It's very easy to string and keep your guitar intonated and to do upkeep on. Uh, and it bends both up and down. Not as extreme as a Floyd Rose, but much more extreme than maybe your standard like Stratocaster bar. And then obviously hardtail trims, or that's not a trim system. Hardtail bridges don't bend at all. So this is kind of like a really, really happy medium where it'll bend both ways. Not a crazy amount, but enough to do pretty much any trick I would want to do with it. So that being said, if your bar doesn't bend up and down, this video is not a complete wash for you. There's going to be some techniques in here that you're going to be able to use as well, guaranteed. So I'm going to clean up my signal a little bit here. I've got a little bit of gain on my signal as I usually do, but we're going to stick with a pretty clean sound, okay? The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how I use my vibrato bar when I am playing chords. I use the bar on this guitar constantly. Also, can I front right now that people call it a tremolo bar or a whammy bar? I think the real proper term, like the old dictionary type of definition, would be vibrato bar, because technically tremolo is the fluctuation of volume, not the changing in intonation of a note. But I like whammy bar the best, so I might switch to saying whammy bar now. Because it's like, I don't know, I think it's like the slang version of it. It's kind of a nice sounding word, whammy bar. It makes sense. Anyway, let me grab some chords and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here. Cool. So I have a big background in classical string instruments. I get hired 50% of the time as a cellist, and I love playing classical string instruments. I'm mostly self-taught in that area, uh, but I did have some proper upbringing through it. And one of the big focus points when you're trying to be a confident classical musician is how you vibrato. So vibrato should never be shrill. It should always have purpose, and it should copy the human voice. So when singers sing, if it's real intense, then they vibrato right away, and that's where you get some of your left hand vibrato techniques. Your we grab a note in vibrato almost immediately. That's where a lot of that kind of comes from. But when something is to be elongated and is to fill space, the vibrato comes later. So you hold the note still and steady. Let me turn that drive back off. You hold it like this, and then at the end, You let that note kind of wiggle around. I'm typically not trying to match tempo to a song or anything. You just give it that good kind of circle shape. The technique that I'm doing with my right hand is I'm loosely holding the end of the bar and moving it both up and down. If your trim system only bends down, then lightly push on it and let it come back up to tune. That would sound like this. So you don't get the full vibrato shape like you do when you can bend up, but you still get an awesome sound. Now, if you push on it like too hard, either direction, you get a really wacky ridiculousness. So you want to save those types of things for fun tricks in your soloing. Like a lot of people really like the flutters, where you flick the bar and you get that type of sound. That's super fun, but it's not as applicable as using your bar for vibrato. So just remember when you're grabbing chords and you have your vibrato bar ready, to let the chord ring and then add the vibrato on the end, and it'll create this really, really pleasing tone. So one last example, and then we'll move on to the next technique. Let me play. Ooh, let me play some big open G chords. I make some of this up as I go. Have you guys not noticed yet? I got rained on today too. Have you noticed that yet? Bet you have. All right, let's check this out. So open positions, open chords, bar chords. It works the same with almost all of them. You'll notice a variant in your vibrato speed when the string is open versus if it's fretted, but not a big deal. It sounds awesome regardless. So that is vibratoing on top of your chords. Try to use it tastefully, maybe even sparingly. That way it really shines through when it's time to actually use it. Let's move on to some of the more prominent lead techniques. I'm going to flip on some drive. I've got my SL drive on, and then I also have a drive called a Kinky Boost on my HX Stomp on right now. But I'm in a middle position on my Charvel, so I'm not getting like the gnarliest. Not getting like the gnarliest tone ever as far as like high gain. It's like medium gain. Yeah, so that'll be the tone that we'll work with. Okay, so let's talk about using your vibrato bar when you're soloing. One thing that people really like to do is ducking, where you duck out of a line. So you'll play something, and then you'll let the note fall off the end. Or you can come into a note that way. So I like those little techniques where they're small, kind of isolated uses. But what I really use my bar for is I like to use it for accenting and getting an additional note rhythmically. So like if I go, so I get the texture and rhythm of going, but I'm going. So it gives me an additional note, but it doesn't sound like a pick. It has a completely different texture. And as most guitar players kind of recognize, different textures are nice, like legato playing, tremolo picking, alternate picking, whatever. Adding textures to your playing always kind of breaks up the dichotomy, and then you're able to have a more creative sounding solo. So using a bar like that, now you may not want to like run down any sort of like, with your bar chopping away at it. You may, if it's like something real shreddy that you're working on, to get those extra notes. Those types of hysterical sounds. or you might want to use it sparingly. I'm kind of a fan of using it, but not overusing it. That way people don't get too used to you using it. So ducking is the big one there. A technique that you can practice for ducking is grab your favorite pentatonic scale. I'll go A minor, first position. And choose notes to duck or rhythm an accent on. So maybe go. So I went up, double rhythm, and then duck down right at the end. And you can be way more extreme with those duck outs too if you want to go like. And have that, ridiculous string fall off the guitar type of thing. I wrecked my tuning. Man, I gotta say, and this isn't sponsored at all, but this guitar holds tune like such a monster. It is so good at holding tune because listen to this. It is raining all day today. I woke up this morning to the loudest crack of thunder ever. We live in Central Florida, so it's not super shocking that I'd wake up to thunder and calamity and terrifyingness every morning. It's normal. No alligators in my house today or anything like that. But even through all the humidity, the heat, the changes in temperatures in my car, out of my car, playing, string changes, this guitar has stayed so true and so intonated, and I've played the heck out of it, and it is just holding up like a monster. So Charvel, killer product. I'm so excited to see round 2 of these pro mods. They just came out with more colors, and they look incredible. So that's that on that. I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're thinking about this guitar, check out our Charvel review video. I think it's worth every penny. I really do. So let's do some more fun like shredder techniques. Let's do a dive bomb. So a dive bomb, I'm going to use a harmonic and my bar to create this like plummeting missile type of sound. So crank my volume. I've got my SL drive on and the kinky boost, but I'm going to go ahead and flip to my first position, my humbucker pickup. And we are going to grab the G. I'm going to pick the G open with my hand already on the bar, and then I'm going to touch 5th fret halfway through my bend. So I'm going to pick, and then I'm going to grab that harmonic. Or I can start with it. So you can do a bunch of those types of techniques as well. That's just picking, grabbing a harmonic, and then pushing the heck out of your bar. I like to do an arch shape. So I start with my bar down a little bit so that the shape can go wow, like that. Oh, please someone clip these types of weird hand motions. But that's what I like because I think it sounds more natural. It sounds like it has an arching movement to it. So then you get that do the Van Halen elephant. I don't think I can do it. Let's see. That's not very elephanty. Let's try again. That's pretty elephanty. You can do some of those moves. That is playing 2 harmonics at the same time and then bending up on your bar so they fight each other. They get that type of little wobble from being out of intonation with each other. I love that. But a dive bomb's a really good one to practice. That's practices both your harmonics. If you have trouble with your harmonics, check out our harmonics videos. And sorry, self-plug. I couldn't even jump back in. I feel so guilty for doing that. But seriously, we have a harmonics video out that you can check out. It's helpful. I think it's helpful. So dive bombs. Let's show the flutter too one more time. I talked about it earlier, but let's do it with some high volume. You can flutter on harmonics as well. You have to be really careful of not accidentally hitting any additional strings or everything will ring out of control. So you want to be really careful about that. I like to do it on a fretted note, so I'll grab 7th fret. We just had a power outage. You know how I talked about it raining all day today? It's raining all day today, but in Florida, that also means that it is lightninging all day today as well. Hey, Steven. Steven's gonna make sure that we're doing everything right. Can't wait for you guys to meet Steven. You can share that. I can't wait for you guys to meet Steven. No, he'll share it. If you guys can hear him right now, Steven is the guy that makes all of this actually happen. I'm just a pit of nonsense knowledge circulating around string instruments. So yeah, but you're gonna meet him because he's gonna be doing reviews. He's gonna be doing some like play-alongs. We're gonna make him do a ton of stuff. To be completely honest, like a ton. So yeah.
But I suck at guitar.
Not really. Okay, so to practice this fluttering technique, I'm gonna grab with my ring finger 7th fret on G. I am going to hold it down and I'm going to pick it nice and firm. I've still got my drive on. I'm going to lightly press down on my bar, and then I'm going to let my hand fly off the end, okay? The faster you can do this technique, the better it's going to work. Now, I'm not hitting it very hard. I want the bar to bounce back and forth. Love that. And that really doesn't ever make your guitar go out of tune. Just kind of flutters around for a second. Once again, sparingly. Use these things sparingly. But they're all very, very good techniques. So try to practice some chord vibrato. You want big round vibrato, trailing off the end of the chord. Then try ducking and the rhythm adding vibrato techniques. And then get silly with it. Try dive bombs, try fluttering, try the elephant sound. Comment and let me know more techniques that I can learn with my bar. I want to know even more tricks. I love tricks on the guitar. Anything that I can do that catches people off guard, I think is so fun. Especially if any of you guys have experienced a sound check where they just tell you to play your guitar so that they can check the audio level. If you have something hysterical to play for them, the Top Gun anthem, things like that. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head at the moment. It's just so fun. Do some vibrato bar techniques, though. Surprise them. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. Our channel is young, but we would like for all of you guys to come join us, be in our community, comment and let us know what we should be providing as a group. We want to cater these videos to you guys, to whomever checks out our videos. Also, thank you guys so much for the comments that we've been receiving. We've been getting quite a few comments, and we really, really like it. We're reading them all. We're responding to most of them, although I will say that users have also done a good job of responding to each other while we just watch. But you guys rule already. We're really excited for this adventure, and we're going to bring you as many videos as I can possibly pull out of my brain. Thank you, guys.